Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Good morning. Good morning. Oh man, I'm saying that multiple times because I feel tired, man. So I am trying to get myself to wake up. Okay. So first of all, okay, I'm gonna pull this over here. Let's post the links. We've got this going. Got this going here. So you've decided. Yeah, I have.
More short-term trade.
So that video that was playing there. The one that is getting started in futures. I feel like the longer on time goes, the more amusing I find that intro. All right, so we had an okay move down overnight. So you can see yesterday we really moved down, and now we've had just a teeny tiny little push further. And treasuries have moved up, but and they did finally trade through that 085. They did finally do it. But who knows? They go further, huh? There appears to be some pretty significant resistance there still. So keep an eye on that. Okay, the squawk still does not work. So we are tweeters still. Tweeters. I will just make that as small. This small. And here's the Discord. I don't know. Let's type. Okay. Free stream chat. Yeah, so as I was tweeting there, the free squawk that people have been using, it appears to me like, well, when you go to that link now, it says the referrer is invalid, which to me says that Saxo Bank doesn't use that anymore. There might be other referrers. I don't know what they would be, but you could just try randomly to see if you can find one that works. Maybe they just killed it though. Maybe it got shared around too much. I don't know. It's unfortunate, but that's the way it is. They are selling it here on the open. What's this notification? Yes, thank you. Thank you, Windows. But I know that I have a G-Sync display. Anyways, so I have Twitter here, and I have a little list of squawks. And so I am watching that. That's how I'm doing it. And I am just going to read it out to you guys here. So if you're listening, I know that there is a slight delay, but that's about the best we got right now, unfortunately. All right, so we'll do that. We got news here in 8 minutes, I believe. Oh wait, you know what? I should, look all this stuff up before I start yapping. Okay. So we have Canadian numbers in 8 minutes at 8:30 Eastern time. We've got employment change and the unemployment rate for Canada. Not news that tends to move us significantly, but it's the best that we got. This week we've been pretty well. I mean, we had a really big move down on Friday, right? And this week we pretty much have mostly retraced that move. So where we're at right now, we're at pretty significant resistance. This 11 area is a what is the word? A single print, and so do not know if we will be able to push up through that, but you can see that there are a lot of people taking profits. We'll see what happens. I suspect that the first 10, 20, 30 minutes of trading might be really dull. I'm saying that because I know that the market maker must be listening to me, and he's going to make things really interesting just because I said that. But really, it's Friday, tends to be a tricky day. We don't have very significant news. We've mostly been retracing the move from last Friday, and ergo, unless the E-mini really starts selling here today, and I don't know if it's going to, although yesterday does kind of provide us with a pretty decent sell location. But unless that happens, I don't foresee a whole lot of action today. So I'm going to be extremely conservative. I'm probably only going to trade one contract, and I'm going to be watching it real closely. Make sure that I'm getting the right spots if I do take a trade. Yeah. Got a lot of people watching already, 16. So thank you guys. And if I'm missing something, or you want me to change the way I do certain things, you can always just make the suggestion, because telling me that I'm an idiot is totally okay and kind of fun. So let's see, we've got some people typing here. I am looking forward to meeting Steve Barclay in the Brussels on Monday evening. I will listen to how the UK sees the way through. The EU will not reopen the withdrawal agreement, but I will reaffirm our openness to rework the political declaration in full respect of EUCO guidelines. Okay. Let's see here. I did change this so that it makes a little neat sound, right? Enable sound, yes. Okay. Hopefully it works. Well, that was a pretty good push down off of that 11.5 level. It looks like it's not a significant change in cumulative delta, but for the overnight session, it is. Just not compared to yesterday. And yesterday, we didn't have really huge moves. So, yeah, really, really light volume. EU won't block controversial Nord Stream 2 pipeline. From Zero Hedge there. Probably a significant piece of news for the oil traders. Is oil moving today? It is. It is moving up. You could maybe, well, I don't know. Wouldn't that be bad? More supply? I don't know. It's moving up. I don't understand oil, so not going to tend to. Mm. Do you guys think that it's a little double bottom on the yes? I don't know. Oh, he did find type quasars. My 2 cents on ZN, I'd look for a short in this area, maybe near 14. My Elliott wave count might indicate that we could be at the top of a B wave. Usually trade CL, but wishing to change a product for less craziness. Interesting. Okay, yeah. I will give him a regular's permission. There you go. I also am wondering here on the YouTube. So the restream chat is now working again. All right. Good morning, Big Toasty. Ryan Marshall, how many trades do you make a week on average with this strategy? Well, so I think that the optimal thing would be 3 a day. 3 a day would be like, if I was trading perfect, that's how many I would want to make. One for basically every time frame that I'm trading, right? So you take one in the 6:30, then I'm talking my time, so really 8:30 Eastern time, and then from the 9 o'clock hour or 7 o'clock, that 30 minutes before the E-mini opens, if I have something good and it's running, then I'll keep it open, but then I usually tend to avoid that time, and then I would get another one afterwards, after the equities kind of confirm which way they're going, and then there's usually a pretty good trade after 10 o'clock Eastern time. I usually get a good one at that time. Well, so there they are at the view up. Probably going to see a little bit trade here at 09.5. I'm not sure what they're doing. Could take it long here potentially. But you gotta be careful because there's going to be some ice breaking there. Anyways, I end up taking a lot more trades than that, so that's not the optimal thing. But sometimes you make mistakes and you just want to click it, you know what I mean? So I think Nord Stream is natural gas. Okay. Oh, that might be true. I don't have that one up. So, okay, so I'm gonna put this like, how do I do this? Oh, I can pop this out. That's right. How do I do that? How do I pop out to chat? Pop out chat. Good deal. And there's the Twitter. Okay. So the Canadian jobs data, 66.8K jobs with an 8K, last negative 1.3. So pretty good change. That's a lot. They were expecting 6.5 and they got 66. Wow. So their numbers similar to the American numbers last week. Unemployment rate did go up though, 5.8 versus 5.7 expected and 5.6 previously. So unemployment rate in Canada is going up 2 points. Interesting. There we go. Ryan Marshall missed your answer. Oh, I'm sorry. 3 a day is what I shoot for, but I usually end up taking more because I'm stupid. Yeah, that's the simple answer. And then I went through and I was saying, usually we get 1 year off of this news here. In the next 30 minutes or so in the opening range, I tend to take one, and then after that first 30 minutes, like the 30 minutes before equities opens, tends to be pretty quiet and can really suck, so I often avoid that area. But after they open, there can be a good one, and then in the 10 o'clock hour, 10 o'clock Eastern time, there's often a good trade, and I usually make a profitable trade in that hour, so usually take that one too. So 2 to 4 is what I would think you would want to take. Yeah, I guess the other thing that I got to say though is that I'm not doing this with the expectation or even like I'm not doing this and saying, hey, this is the way that I trade. You should trade it too, right? In fact, I would say the opposite. I think that order flow is a good way of trading. I think that reading order flow is a good skill to acquire, and you can hear my reading of the order flow. Your take on it might be different, but watching order flow is a good way to trade. But the way that I trade, like the trades that I make and the places that I pick and things like that, might not work for you. It's very much based on the way that I think and my risk tolerance and all of those things, right? So I always want to make sure that I encourage people to make their own strategies, right? I hope this is a good learning resource for people, but I don't want people to be running around saying Seth's strategy is really great and you should totally do it too. You know what I mean? That's asking for trouble. And honestly, I've had some periods of time where I just really, really suck. That whole April through September time period is just awful for this kind of a strategy. Anytime that it gets slow, this strategy is not going to do very well. Yeah, I don't think it's my style, but it's definitely interesting. Well, good. Yeah, I think the big thing that I want people to realize is that order flow is like the most basic way of looking at the market. Everything else is really a extension of order flow, really. Like if you're looking at a chart pattern and it's a head and shoulders, well, we see that in the order flow. I can see people bought it up. There wasn't as many people, wasn't as much volume this time, and they didn't get as high, and so now they're going to push down. Like we saw that in equities yesterday very, very clearly before the fall, and then that news came out, and then it really went, ooh, yeah, that was the day. So, yeah. Order flow is order flow. There's no strategy unless you have reinvented order flow, right? But the order flow is just the tool. And then the strategy would be how I try to trade it. And how I try to trade it is not even necessarily a super regimented thing. I will tell you though, the way that I try to do it is I'm watching for reactions at specific prices. Generally what I'm doing is I'm trying to look for prices that are balanced and prices that they don't want to trade. And I'm looking for places where it will be difficult, but I still believe that I will get filled and see that place hold. And I try to do it in a spot where I have low risk, 2 to 3 ticks risk, and and I never try to trade against the momentum. So if it's going to be a reversal, I need to see some momentum going the other way first. So it'll come down, it'll reverse. I'll see it back tick a tick, and then like maybe it could be doing it right here, and so I could take it at 0.95, but I'm not super confident. And in this spot right here, for instance, I just tell you what I'm seeing is that in the 10-year, it's 3,000 bid by 3,000 offer, right? Which means that the limit side buyers and sellers are equally interested in this price. Now, when that happens, there's a good chance that you could get filled on either side, but there's also a good chance that it's going to move away from that area. And since I don't have a clear read on the direction of movement today, I don't want to take a trade here. Although, the risk would, and that's the other thing, is that right now I think that the risk would have to say that you would have to take it long. You could take it long 0.9 and your puke could be at 0.8. That's 2 ticks, and then you could make 3 to 4 ticks on the upside at 11.5 and 12, right? That's the area that we're in. But the momentum has been down as of recent, so that contradicts that. That's first of all. So we would really want to see some real trend up, first of all. But then second of all, it's a Friday. So a Friday can often be tricky. There's no news today. It's been pretty range bound this week anyways. And we're right in the middle of the day's action. So we're right at the VWAP, which always tends to have a lot of volume in it, or we're close to the point of control. We're in the middle of a profile. And so because of that, my probability of being able to predict whether it's going to move up from here or down from here is really low. Well, not really low. It's like, it's like a 50-50 coin flip right here. But the low of me, the probability of me being right is like low. Order flows like a book. You read words, and if you've read a house, then it can't be a card. Either you can read or you can interpret what's in it. Expecting a swing on ZB and day trade in ZN. And Quasi but did post his chart here, although I don't quite understand it. Oh, they make little eyes on the swings. I just don't know enough about Elliott analysis to be able to make any comment on that. Donald Trump tweeting, now we find out that Adam Schiff was spending time together in Aspen with Glenn Simpson of GPS Fusion, who wrote the fake and discredited dossier, even though Simpson was testifying before Schiff, says John Solomon of The Hill. That's Donald Trump tweeting that. Interesting. You notice, Donald Trump tweets news stories that he thinks aren't getting enough traction in the media. The problem with that strategy has been that he often ends up tweeting something that is not real news or is somehow false. And so I don't know the accuracy of that particular claim that he's making. Okay, so they are hitting into 09 now, right? So if I had taken it at 09.5, I would be sweating like super hard right now and maybe puking. Would say it's been downtrend, but it's been super slow. Maybe it picks up if we get a few more ticks lower. I don't know. The E-mini is moving a little bit higher as we do that. So it looks like there's some correlation. Oh, he's long from 14.5. So he thinks that it's gonna make another move up, and then he maybe get out. Do we got anything on CNBC today? The US and China don't even have a trade deal draft yet as deadline approaches. Yeah, that's not good. Jeff Bezos accuses National Enquirer of extortion, shows emails threatening to publish nude selfies. Well, you should have paid them, you moron. I don't know. Do you think so? So, if that's true, should Jeff Bezos have told them, or do you think that he was making the smart play by saying, I'm being extorted? I don't know. But don't take my words as truth, just say my thoughts. Ha ha ha. 4X Live, the jump was almost entirely due to people aged 15 to 24 who accounted for 53K of the jobs. Another sign that it was a seasonal skew. Okay. That is good observation there. Upside in ZB week, no reports today. And yeah, if you had taken a trade at 09.5 and you had your stop at 08.5, you would have gotten hit. So there you go. You know what I'm realizing? I was really liked to use that restream chat because I could see everything in one spot. But because the robot passes things between Twitch and YouTube, I really can just look at the YouTube chat and I have it all in one spot. Canadian participation rate is 65.6 compared to 63.2 in the US. Canada's population is older too. So he's tweeting some person. Neil Kashkari can continue to argue there is hidden slack there. So I set it up to give me sound notifications, but I haven't heard any beeps. So I guess that don't work. Well, it does appear to have balanced quite a bit here around 085. They've tried to hit into 08 a couple of times, but it's just kind of sitting there. So I think Yes, feeling a quiet day ES driven, probably a 2700 probe, and bonds back into yesterday's range may be value. I think so too. Well, if they push down to the value area, there's oh 06 half. That would be down to the day's low. Okay, now Donald Trump tweeting again. The mainstream media has refused to cover the fact that the head of the very important Senate Intelligence Committee, after 2 years of intensive study and access to intelligence that only they could get, just stated that they have found no collusion between Trump and Russia. Dot 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 dot. Meaning there's another tweet coming. Well, nothing super tradable though, unfortunately. I just need more screen real estate, guys. I need to buy another monitor. We'll see. I have to save up for it. But maybe at the end of this year, maybe we could improve the workspace here. Oh, I see a couple of little messages here. Ooh. Yeah. It really is disappointing. I really miss the British voice. Don't you guys miss the British voice? I don't think that my accent. I talk weird. You notice. I know we're just going to talk about random things because I really don't think that the order flow is all that interesting right now. Um. So I live in Utah. Utah has kind of an accent, right? Like we don't enunciate our T's very well. But you also kind of pick up accent from your parents. And my mom is Canadian, and I kind of tend to talk like her. And a lot of the things, like when I listen back to myself playing, although the more that you listen to yourself in the headphones, because this microphone you can hear yourself in the headphones, the more that you listen to that, maybe the more comfortable you get with it. But still, some of the ways that I say things and stuff is like, it like sounds like my mom, and it bothers me. You get that? But I just miss the British voice. You know, we need to get Mr. Brannigan in here. Give us that silky smooth, ultra posh British voice. Love it. Oh, it does. Interesting. Hmm. Yes. 10% profit. Or somebody's talking to me about the earn to trade combine. So someone is showing me the live squawk does work if you have the right refer link, but the Saxo Bank one doesn't work anymore. So like this one, they gave me a refer link. I'm not going to share it, but I'm not going to open up the squawk just today. I don't know. I have to think about what we want to do with it. But this is like a random string that is attached to it. So I don't think that it works long term. Like it probably works today, and then tomorrow it might be different. I don't know. But there's probably a way to hack it to get the link constantly or something. But it's okay. We can work through this. Yeah, I was just thinking they were talking about the earn to trade combine, and like one of the things is that I haven't been trading the combines because, oh, by the way, we are getting a pretty good trend up, although it was pretty random out of nowhere. It just two easy ticks up, not a whole lot of volume to push it. Chip stocks fall after Goldman and others warn they've gotten ahead of themselves. Rabobank, we can't even imagine what the Chinese response will be to the quote-unquote Green New Deal. Oh man. Okay, so I think I'm still going to do it. How am I going to do this? So I think I'm going to record it tonight about the Green New Deal and post it on Monday. That tends to be working really well. And then I'm going to have the Democrat primary race analysis again. So I'm planning on recording that tomorrow afternoon, and then hopefully it's not too hard for me to edit it and everything like that. But yeah, I was planning on making a really long good critique of the Green New Deal. But I guess that was kind of naive of me because, of course, the plan that she put out, first of all, is just kind of like crazy in general. But then more importantly, there's like no real specifics on it. Like it just says, oh, we should make green investments. And it's like, okay. But how do you figure out which of those investments you're going to make? And, this move down up in treasuries, by the way, is correlated with equities. So it looks like they are a little scared. I think there's definitely something here in the market where they're concerned about the equities really falling apart today after, yesterday being pretty negative and the trade news coming out of China not being very positive. So anyways, as I was saying, with the combines, one of the combines, the new one, allows you to keep trades open overnight. And I feel that if you swung it in treasuries, you would have a much better chance of passing. No? Might be worth, I did a couple of little swings in the past. The problem I've had with swings is that those opportunities, I don't necessarily see them all the time. You know what I mean? So I would like to stick to what I've been practicing. But I do think for some of you, if you want to do a combine, and you want to do swing trading, that might be a good way to do it. And we have in our chat, John, one of the degenerate gamblers. He does swing trades and he's very good at it, so he would be the person to talk to. I'm wondering here, is this... If you want to hold overnight, you can buy a vertical spread in the options on ZB. Yeah, that's one way of doing it. Actually, you when was it? I'd have to go like way back. Okay, so it was like in 2018, about mid-July. Oh no, here it was. It was like late August. No, it wasn't that. It was 2017. Yes, it was. It was 2017. Okay, so here in 2017, like late August right here, there was this day where this was kind of like over South Korea news, I think, was this little spike up. And then here, the Federal Reserve kind of changed things and the economy kind of changed a little bit there. And I said in the chat, you will never see interest rates this low again in our lifetimes. Did I say lifetimes? I don't know. Not for a generation, possibly. Like that was the spot. And I said, you just go short and hold it. And I just knew, based on the action and the position and everything, I just knew what was going to happen for the next few months, you know? And sure enough, I mean, geez, it did that and then careened down at the beginning of the year, 2018. And I did really good in this period right here. Then when it turned into this thing right here, it wasn't quite as good. This whole sideways thing. See, when it's moving sideways, that does not do very good. All through this was, then I started doing well. Around September, this period, because it's actually moving around a lot. Anyways, back then I thought about doing it with options. I was like, well, maybe, I could define my risk much more clearly with options if it's just like you either double your money or you lose it all. It's a little bit easier to just set your risk that way. But, I didn't look into it much further than that because I think you would have to do it through Thinkorswim or something. Maybe when this small exchange comes out through the Tasty Trade, maybe I will look at the options again. Start looking at them more. Oh, Donald Trump tweeted again. It's all a giant hoax and illegal hoax developed long before the election itself, but used as an excuse by Democrats as to why crooked Clinton lost the election. Someday, the fake news media will turn honest and report that Donald J. Trump was actually a great candidate. Buy one strike in the money and sell one strike out of the money. Yes. And so that's the way that I did it. When I was doing like simulated trades and I was doing them, I would like go into Thinkorswim and then I would put it in a spreadsheet because I wasn't allowed to actually send orders at my company if you send something that was like bad. So I would just put it in a spreadsheet and I would do spreads. I would look for a spot where, I don't think that it's going to get beyond this spot. And so I would buy the one strike and then I would sell the other strike that's out of the money to reduce my cost and give me a little bit more leverage and define my risk a little bit better, and could do it based off of the levels that I was seeing in the chart. And I don't think I did it enough to know how good I was at it, but I do recall doing it a few times and getting some good trades out of it. So I remember doing it on Apple. Well, they came up and they came back to the 095 and have gone flat again. Very interesting. think they really want me to, yeah, better than stop losses because you can let them ride. Yeah, that's true. Well, because you're saying like when you take a normal investment, you're saying like I am using $500 of my margin, but really, if it gets here, I'm only going to risk $31 or whatever the deal is, right? With options, you can sit down and you can say, I'm I'm going to risk $100 a trade. 50, $100 would be like probably the minimum that you could do, really, from what I've seen. I don't know what it's like in futures, but willing to risk this much money, and then you work the options out to reduce the cost of it so you can buy as many of them as you can, and then if they work out, you make, you calculate you're going to make X much, and if it doesn't work out, then you lose half or all of it, and you set the risk that way. U.S. Attorney General tells lawmakers he can't discuss his talks with U.S. President Trump. Okay. You think that he's going to get... It's been taking a long time. I thought that he would be confirmed already. My back has not been doing very well the past few weeks, guys. So now on a related note, this is the way that you can do it on predicted too. Is kind of fun because there's like really three types of things that I see there. It's either one is the traders are pretty sure they know what's going to happen, and there's like an 80-90% chance of that thing happening, and that's where it is. There's ones where market's really not sure and they list it at 50-50, but then there's other ones where it's like 25-75 or 60-30. So if it's like at 30, you can buy it at 30%, and then if it goes to 60, you've doubled your money, right? And if you don't make it, then you lose it all. So it's basically 1-to-1 risk reward. And if it's lower than that, you can get like 10-to-1 risk reward, essentially, right? So like I have one right now that's 1-to-3 because it's 25, bought it at 25%, and so if it goes 50-75, then it 100, then it would be worth $30, and if I lose, then I lose $10, right? So it's like 1-to-3, and the market says that there's only a 30% chance of this happening. Yes, Zero Hedge has the correct headline here. Same thing, but they say Whitaker cites executive privilege. Bleh. Cites executive privilege regarding talks with Trump. The inflammatory headline. I bought Trump to win synthetically by buying Pence for VP and tripled my money. The Trump to win result. Oh, really? That I'm gonna have to remember that one. Yeah, so the one that I'm in right now is, will Beto O'Rourke run for president? I don't think he will. I think that they want him to stay in Texas and run for the other Senate seat, which, it not being Ted Cruz, Beto might have a chance. No, E-mini's coming back up now. I wonder if Treasuries are going to move, so they're ignoring this particular move. That's kind of interesting. How Ocasio-Cortez's Green New Deal almost imploded on its first day. Almost. Well, we should click the link before. The controversy over the plan continued when Ed Markey, the Massachusetts senator whose plan's lead backer in the Senate, almost slammed Ocasio-Cortez and the plan's fact sheet for calling a ban on nuclear power, which supplies 50% of America's carbon-free energy. Oh. I see. So they're saying that the other people that were involved in it almost didn't sign on to it because of certain things that she had in it. I already tweeted back to him. I was like, almost? What? This is just not. I mean, maybe if I was paying attention down there at 08 and maybe I would have taken along and I could have gotten it. And then maybe I would be thinking, like, oh, we could go and take out the high. Maybe they really are going to sell the E-mini. See there, they take up again. I mean, that's what I'm thinking right now, is maybe they'll take out the high. But I stayed out, partly because we've been chatting. But I stayed out because I felt that the market's too slow, you know? And it's still too slow. It's still too slow. By the way, where's the... Oh, it doesn't show me. Okay, well. Yeah, let me fix that. So it unfortunately can't see everything. Oh, by the way, I should put here in off topic. I spent yesterday we I did trade a little bit later, and I did catch an okay trade going into the close there, but yesterday was a down day. And oh, by the way, this was the open price right here, so you're probably going to get a little bit of resistance here at 11.5. I'd say the more firm the resistance is at the open price, the stronger the forces, the longer term forces for that day are. Yesterday, I think that the longer term forces were not, ended up being not all that strong. No deal Brexit risks rise as UK-Japan trade talks stall. Ugh. Okay, well, they got through 11.5 pretty easily, and they are pumping up the bid, so let's see if they go for 12. USD CAD falls to retracement target from the recent rally. Right, so anyway, so I was going to say, yesterday, did end up staying home, so like we traded a little bit later, and then I went outside to get out, and I couldn't get out because my wife left her car on the driveway. She couldn't like drive up the driveway, it was too icy, so I had to dig out, which took forever, and I ended up actually having to fix the snowblower, but it works now, so that's cool. the snowblower that I bought for like, like the $1,500 snowblower that I bought for $100. But it was a lot of work. I don't know if it was worth it. And then when I got done with that, I was like, well, I'm too freaking tired to drive in. So I worked from home yesterday. And then I wasn't going to go to the gym because my gym is like all the way across town and I didn't want to have to drive back at night on the frozen roads. So I stayed home and played Apex last night, and I have noticed I didn't think that I was going to end up playing a lot of that game, but I played a ton of that game. I'm getting okay at it. But it was kind of fun, and I think, speculation, because you notice like CNBC is always talking about Fortnite, like how popular it is and things like that. But they're missing this because it looks to me like it's over. This new game is taking over. All the serious gamers are moving over to that. Okay, well, they did tick up to it. They didn't take it. It ticked back down. They stacked a little bit at 12. I'm seeing there is a big bid in ZF. Um, I would. So this is again a place where it's hard to make a read because when you see a big bid chasing something up, that can often be a good sign. But when it's slow action, that can often be the trader trying to push the market up so that they can get out. And then once he gets out, he drops it and the market can come back on you. So here in this particular context, a No News Friday, it is uncertain if that's going to push us up or reverse. If we were really range bound, like if this was happening during a time period that had been super range bound, I would almost say short. Look for the iceberg at the top and go short. We could maybe do that today. You know what? If it wasn't for the E-mini, maybe I would do it. We'll watch that 12 really carefully. Sometimes you will see a stack there that's critical. And it's a very subtle. They're kind of dancing here a little bit with the level 2. See if they flip. There's the flip right there. 28, 22 on the bid. In the 10-year. And they flip again. The 5-year is ticking up and down there. Appears to be causing the change. National Enquirer responds to Jeff Bezos' blackmail accusations. Let's read. Hmm. Ooh, what? Washington Post's Roig Franzia says Bezos' team thinks it's possible that the text leaks were politically motivated and that a government entity accessed the Bezos texts. Ooh, what? That's a little. Okay. Hmm. May have been sent to the magazine by someone in government. Wait, that's not what the. Hmm. Well, the headline doesn't match what the story says. The headline is National Enquirer responds to Jeff Bezos' blackmail accusations. But the actual story is Bezos investigator believes texts were leaked by government entity. Trump has yet to tweet on the matter. uh, okay, so you can see that offer there is 66 now. We're kind of at a key place because the E-mini is going to open up here in 11 minutes. Yeah, I don't actually see the response in here. Clearly easier to move up than down if broken. There's space to go to 12, maybe 16, maybe higher if gloomy, but definitely could go back and forth like yesterday. Okay. So there's a tick up in the 5-year, tick up in the 10-year, about 1,000 pull. Ace trade. Say I didn't see you yesterday. But my chat was screwed up. So hello today. He's short 2689.79 or 75. So from right there, right where it's at. Interesting. Well, that would, if the E-mini really does go short here, that would favor a long in the Treasuries, but I'm not 100% sure what it's going to do. Yep, so you can get in on the fun, right? I'm tempted to come over here and click short in the E-mini, but because I was saying yesterday, like when I saw that Head and Shoulders, I was like, this is really bad for the E-mini. And then when it went and everything, I was like, okay, the fact that it sold here today is really, really bad, technically speaking. But then the Treasuries never took off. Never took off. He says it's just free money. Now you're making me concerned, bro. Okay, so they ticked up there again, and it's pulling. So let's just see. Setting a tight stop and making breakfast. Okay, well, I got 2 ticks on it. Okay, so there was more significant pulling. Only 14 contracts traded into it, and you're seeing 35.23 trading at 12, and 11.5 is now stacked up to 27. I'm concerned that when this goes, that I'm not going to get filled. I'm too afraid to buy into 12 without trying to catch it as she goes, and so I will just, what happens, I guess. In my opinion, reversal has happened. A test of the low bounce and now probable break up. Yeah. The only problem is that they're still ranging around at 11.5. Yes, trade 76 to 77. Okay. There it went. Okay, we did get filled, but there was a 10K iceberg there. Well, it's giving us a clearly defined level here. Marco Rubio, I was hopeful that we would be able to redefine the U.S. Mexico relationship as a strategic partnership, not a U.S. aid relationship, an alliance to address our common challenges. But the new government's inexplicable support for Maduro has put all of that in doubt. This Maduro thing is turning into a bigger deal than I thought it would be. When I first heard about this stuff a couple of weeks ago, I was like, okay, whatever. Socialist's gonna socialist. But now all of a sudden, like, foreign powers are taking positions on it and stuff. Okay, so we're still at that 26.89.75. We did not clear the 12, but it is not stacking. We traded down not a lot on the bid or the offer at 11.5. Although they did pull a little bit at 11. And the 5-year not giving any clear indication that it's going to continue to move up. 3 minutes till equities open. So for there to be an iceberg there at 12, it ticked down and then still only be 31.35 on it. I think that they're going to hit it again. Hmm. Yeah. think we might get the level 2 flip here in a second. If we can build up a little bit. Okay. There it flipped, but just barely a little bit. Okay. That's better. Okay. Even you ticking down. This is eerily quiet here going into the equities open. I still have a cough, man. It's been like a week. A few hitting into the 12. Hey, good morning, Ozzy. Oh, another level 2 flip. You're playing games there. Doing the dance. It hasn't flipped in the 5 year though. Been consolidating new highs here, staying bullish above 0.47, but getting into some pretty serious high altitude. Slow morning, yeah. This is my first trade, actually. Okay, here it goes. They did just break a new high there. They did trade 118 into 12 half. So there's that, I guess. And they trade down. So the E-mini buys on. So the first E-mini impulse was a buy. Okay. So that was not the most impressive buy, but the sellers are not taking it yet. Yeah, it looks, in fact, like the sellers are going to try and break a new high. Not done yet. Might even get above this level. Well, we're about to get stopped out. Okay, possible spot here. Okay. So that was a spot. See if sellers really take control of it here or not. Okay. I don't know, guys. Doesn't look like the sellers are really in control of this. Maybe they're just letting them come up, though. Hmm. Here we go. Took us out. Okay. Still going. Treasuries seem to be holding this level pretty well despite the mini just, slowly creeping up. Alright. Still going. Looks like there's a big iceberg at 11. You don't think that spot worked out too well for most of us, did it? Notice though, they did break a new high and I'm not seeing anything up there. Nothing to indicate that they're not gonna go from there. Okay. So there's a 5K iceberg at 11. Nope. Okay. So they're still absorbing quite a bit on the bid there. So here's another spot. Maybe. Maybe. Okay, 2 traded up there. Hmm. I don't know. They're not done. Another successful BIK. I mean that it didn't work out right. Okay. All right, there was a little bit of a change there in the treasuries. Oh, another breakfast in kid. Gotcha. Okay, so treasury market thinks that they've turned. They are putting a reasonable amount of volume up there. It's unfinished though at 26.96. If that really is the pivot, that would be a dangerous pivot. ES climbing high and not triggering a sell off in treasuries. I think that the buyers want it more. If ES turns down, buying may come. Yeah. Well, I see that too. But that's what I said yesterday, and it never turned out for us, did it? Now, that was a way half. We did eventually move higher. It just wasn't until like way late in the session. Maybe, though, that was just hedging that was stopping that one. Okay, so the E-mini is coming back significantly, but they're not pulling in ZN yet. There is a big order there at the top in ZF. It got left behind when they came down. I'm wondering if we tick up to 25 3/4 if that stays or not. US equities slide at the open. That's sure not what it looks like to me, Forex Live. What chart are you looking at? Curious. Okay, so there was a little bit of selling there in the treasuries as ES pushes the high again, but they're absorbing it and holding the spot. Yeah, that buy there. If they push back down here, and they would have to push back below 26.94.75. Clear below us. Yeah, or there is no correlation. Okay, there's a tick higher. Didn't hold it, but okay. Now the mini's pushing a little bit harder. Hypothetical collects it because it spent much time consolidating in that range 168 to 166 and a half. We'll see. Then it ticks up again, but weak bid. Yes, not quite breaking the bottom there yet. They need to go. Okay, there they did. It's not just falling straight back though. Okay, so now we're seeing it at 11.5. A little bit of absorption. Core unit issues warning on DRC cobalt sales. Financial Times. Okay. You know, I wonder if Forex Live got a different memo. Like they were supposed to sell and they didn't look at the chart to see that it actually sell before they tweeted or something? Is that what it is? Is it a conspiracy? So the E-mini is selling. There is more volume to come out of this if it keeps going. But it is super slow and inconsistent. Oh, unfinished at the bottom now. They did finish at the top. You can see 26.97, 59. Nothing on the left side of that. So it's finished. It might not matter, but it is what it is. We would have to see a much, much more significant drop, though, for that cumulative delta to equalize. It doesn't have to equalize, but I guess the thing I'm saying is that if it does equalize, um, the E-mini is either going to have to drop very, very quickly, or they're not going to make it below the open. Okay, so that last impulse down was there was some aggressive movement that started it. But there again, the bids are looking a little bit better in the treasuries. 5-year might actually tick up to 26 and tick a new high. Okay, yes. Somebody gonna buy 26 and a quarter? Oh yeah, come on. Nobody hit that one. There you go. Okay. Well, there's so much sitting up there. It's 16 now. That's been there all week. Okay. Well, maybe if they get back to the open, maybe it does equalize. Okay. So that's pretty much the open. Yeah, right there. They did equalize. Now they are pushing further. And the way that the treasuries are behaving now looks very strong. Some profit taking there at 13, which is 4 ticks from the where we took it. Yeah. You getting a pullback here. That's why they're taking profits there at 13. Hmm. There was definitely a good short in there, but it was not at the open, was it? Yeah. Good number of people watching this morning, so thank you guys for tuning in. Not seeing any more news alerts here. A lot traded into that 13 now. We saw what, a 5K at 11.5, or it was 11 maybe? So they may have just gotten out. It could be over. Okay, buyers not looking so hot at the moment. They did tick down at 12.5, but weak offer. Oh, now that's a little bit better. Okay. Sellers might be taking over here again at the VWAP. 2692 is a point of control. Death to America really means death to Trump, Ayatollah says. I see. Fundamentally concerned about gloomy revisions in Italy sinking tariffs impact, but it's mixed. Some sign of strength in some countries, not broad-based in the EU. Hard Brexit is a problem too, was not expected. Yeah. I think that the market's really concerned about the Brexit situation. Okay, that went bid at 13. There was a big iceberg there before, and there was a little bit of volume that traded there on the way up, but it looks like there's more than enough to keep going, and that it was probably profit taking there. And that is to say, I'm not seeing somebody desperately trying to keep it down there. The Ayatollah is a very credible person. Well, this is not the first time that I've heard Iran say that their comments about death to America are misinterpreted, but like, come on. Right? Okay, so there's the tick up again. They're not putting their pressure on it. 13.5? 13 rather. Like the bid's not. Oh, okay, but they did absorb quite a bit. 26.85. Okay, so that one was different. They dumped 26 on it at 13. Nope, it pulled. It decided not. Yeah. There was actually 3 or 4 sell impulses in there that came back, and they haven't yet gone down for these lows. I think that they might get really aggressive and just go for it, and then things would get interesting. But until then, we're still in a very uncertain. Yeah. It's kind of slowed down there, even though it is at that low area. Yeah, okay. Steve Harmon, we're on the verge of a government shutdown again because Democrats won't come to the table and have a conversation about securing the country. I read a report this morning that there was some of the people that were negotiating the deal were very hopeful, and it sounded like they had some sort of a deal, but the killer on the deal was whether or not there would be a wall and like what the semantics of it would be, because like they can't call it a wall. Isn't that fucking retarded? Like, honestly, that's how stupid politics have become, is that because it's Trump and Trump promised a wall, now we can do anything to improve border support security except for anything that could possibly be considered a wall. Even though I think everybody understood back then that a wall was kind of more of a, that's just the easy thing to talk to people, and that it included all facets of border security. Yeah, right. It's just dumb to me because it's like, from my position is you give the money to border patrol and they decide what to do with it. This plan was made. It's not a wall, it's security fencing. Right. But this plan was made in cooperation with the Border Security and the Department of Homeland Security. So like the stuff that is in there is the stuff that they asked for. So it's like, if you just said we're going to give this money to them, and if they decide to build a wall, then they build a wall, and if they decide to put it into these other things, then they decide to put it into these other things, right? That would be the thing, right? So there is some buying in here. I have not noticed that before, but you see that pretty long string of 200 to 300s there from the low, and we pulled back. So somebody is playing defense there in the E-mini, I think. Anyways, it's all coming down now to semantics, which tells you, like, it really is just that the Democrats don't want to let him have a win. That's really super toxic to politics, right? How are you ever supposed to get something done if that's the way that you make your decisions? Italian 10-year yield rises to touch 3%, highest since December 12th. Now, like, that 13.5 is like almost completely pulled now. And are they luring us here, or do they really think that they're going to go for that low now? Okay, well, 2000. Interesting. There was maybe a little bit of a lure going on there. But I think people want it. And I think that there's a really good chance now that they get below that price in the E-mini. Yeah. Yep. Okay, quick. Here comes your 20, 60, 89, 75 now. You can go short again. There's 5 points in the basket. Good job, Ace. So where did you went and, oh, I didn't see where you took the other one. 26.94.75. Good job. That was a very nice one. And above that other pivot too. That was an easy call. Yeah. Well, I felt like after it. Oh yeah, I can actually kind of almost see where on the chart you probably took it, and it was kind of where I was like, okay, yeah, it does look like the sellers are starting to take it now. Okay. So that was that's an interesting setup. So there was a aggressive sell there. Okay. So that is a take profit signal, potentially. But it's like unfinished there, and there was a lot of volume above it too. So it's kind of odd that they would that happens there. And they take it down again. It's ticking a little bit too quickly. I think that two guys took profits, one at 13.5 and one at 13, and but now the E-mini is not. It still doesn't look done to me. Yeah, we can go bid at 13.5 again. That would be great. Nope. Ooh, wow. Wow. The way they went for that thing was like that whole thing was all just a big long game to do that. Wow. Okay. I'm still not seeing the panic over here in the treasuries. They're not ticking back up at 13.5 again yet. There's a little bit of buying. But to see that 13 is pulling. That might be a lure. Yeah. Well, Ace thinks it's going to go to 2677. Where are you getting that from? Oh, well, there was yesterday's low, which was 2660 or 2685. 2685. So they did not quite get to yesterday's low. So I think that they're probably going to try another impulse in all likelihood, right? I made it up. um so I'm conflicted at the moment because I would have liked to have taken it off at 13.5, but it's not giving that to me now. At this point, I'm kind of feel like we're at a pullback. Like, I mean, maybe the E-mini turns around, but I really think that this 16 up here is still pretty likely, just because it's so big and it's been there all week. You know, after after seeing all of that, and you have a target that big up there, kind of makes me think it would happen. Oh, Ace still holding? Well, it sounded like he took his profit, didn't he? So he wouldn't have said, "Oh, there's my 8" if he hadn't have closed it. Hmm. He wants to know if you're still short the E-mini. Okay. So the E-mini is still behaving to me like sellers are in control and they're trying to figure out which way they can go. Oh, that's funny. I didn't know that wrong. He's like, "What's up, bro?" And Wrong's like, "I'm not a bro." I got to tell you, one of the best traders that we had in Discord. I haven't seen her in a long time. I don't know if she stopped trading or what the deal was. She was a much older lady too, but she was so good. Oh my gosh, Fran was so good. One of the best traders I think we ever had in here was Fran. Okay, so there's still not quite. So you're seeing those insistent ticks down. You see that? They're like, no, 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 no. Like really, we're gonna go down there and get it. We're gonna go down there and get it, dude. Just give up. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Just let it happen. No. Anyways, I think girls are really good at scalping. Someday, someday they're gonna all figure it out how much money they can be making day trading, and it's gonna, it'll be a good thing for markets. I think. I can only hope, right? I think there's a lot of people out there that have that time in the morning. You know. Yes, Fran the Grand. Yeah, she was trading UB for a while, and she was making a lot of really good trades in UB. I don't know if she. I mean, what she was started to do was started to be really different from the rest of the chat. So maybe she became disinterested because of that, or maybe she just stopped trading. I don't know. I mean, we did go through some tough markets, so and it's been a long time since we've seen her. It's been like I want to say over a year now. See, that 13 kind of keeps pulling. Like, okay, maybe they're gonna go and do it. 30 minutes now. We've been on this. Nope, that's bad. Okay, sucks. But that should not be coming back like that. We took it from 11. We'll watch that price. Ooh, there's a bubble there. Jeez, they might have just scared me out. Like where I got out there is maybe right where it's gonna turn again. Hmm. Just knowing I traded 12, and that's thick, that's bad. Whitaker tells the lawmakers he won't testify. Old news. Well, it's 8:09. Hmm. Okay. It goes off again. The 12 not pulling away. I think that they want fills. Reset this. The ZB also kind of doing the thing like maybe they turn around there. Okay. All right. We are minutes away from the opening of the bird squawk. No, not today because there's no kids. Right? So until the wife comes down and they hear her, they're not going to squawk. Mm-hmm. So I get some spam here. Do you know that the governments are trying to regulate current cryptocurrency and exchanges? The way that he did that one, it makes me like extra like I want to ban you. Let's do it. Oh, I didn't get it from. It wasn't from our chat. It was from another chat that I was getting the spam. Darn. If you are not in a trade, then answer the following test questions to prove it. How do you get lipstick out of clothes? What is the what is the ratio of rice to water for cooking? Wait. There is a ratio for like an optimal ratio. So I just isn't it like 1 to 1? I think it's 1 to 1. No. I mean I just use the cup and the rice cooker tells me how much. Okay, see now they are because the wife is walking downstairs. Oh, that's funny. So they're doing a spelling bee at school, and um, 2 years ago my son did really well in it, and then last year he didn't do very well because I guess they didn't know how to practice for it correctly, and so they're like really practicing hard for it this time. And so she has him on um Apple FaceTime, and they're practicing the words. Yeah, I didn't think that she was gonna come down yet. All right, gosh. Usually it would have been a little bit earlier, wouldn't it? Like around 8 o'clock when the kids, because when the kids come downstairs is when they start doing that. Well, they're looking like, I really think that they're gonna go for 2685. You never listen to me. Trades, birds, weather, jobs. When are you gonna listen? I'm not a good listener, dude. This is what happens when foreigners boycott the soaring U.S. budget deficit. And he's got a picture. U.S. primary dealer position. Ooh, that is interesting, actually. So he's got a chart of dealer positions, and here in the past few days, I'm too colorblind. Oh, they're going. They didn't touch 85 yet, but they did make a new low. You see that? Which color is that? Which one is it? Is it Treasury? Corporates? I don't know which one, but look at all that buying there. Interesting. Very interesting. Anyways, I'm a terrible listener. You know what? Like last night. Oh man. So I go when I get done with everything. With work, we'll work from home. So I start playing Apex, and then my wife is like, "Hey, you want to go with me to the hobby store?" And I'm like, "No." So she went there and came back, and then did her stuff. And so I thought, she just wanted to do her own thing today, and I think that she did. Because otherwise she would have been like, "No, I don't want to do this," or whatever, right? But then when she got in the bed, she told me this like super, super long story about this movie that she had been watching while she was working down in the basement and everything. And I was like, oh my gosh. Because it was like 11:30. It was like way past my bedtime, and she was super chatty. And I was kind of laughing to myself because like I was trying to listen to her, but I was like, I'm tired and I'm ADHD and I'm not doing a very good job here, guys. And I just hope that she doesn't notice how terrible of a listener I am, because I'm so terrible. Man. Well, I'm super pissed because, I really could have just... I got out at exactly the wrong spot. That was... They scared Seth, and that Seth fell for it. 100% what happened back there, huh? Luckily, I was able to get one contract back on, but still. That super sucks. And this obviously isn't going to fill, right? That's fine, though. That's fine. I try and sit up and take one for the team, but hearing the details on a movie gets hard. She's got a very different brain from mine. She is like almost the opposite of me in some respects, in terms of like her what is the word that I use? Her neurological profile is like the opposite of mine. I'm like really like the social praise and novelty and things like that. And she is like she likes things to be the same. If I remember correctly, that stop volume set at 1200 means that there would need to be more. No, that is not what it means. So, what it means is that if the level 2 there drops below 1200, then it will be triggered. Does that make sense? I probably shouldn't have taken that off, but it just, I didn't like where it was going, and I was like, you know what, I got what I originally wanted. I should take it off here. Yeah, okay, he understands now. Yeah. So the intention of it is that it just touching your price should not trigger the stop, but it trading through the price should trigger the stop. So if it drops to 1200, below 1200, then my stop would be one of
Block
those
sell.
orders. Holy shit. Okay, I don't see anything yet. That was weird. I'm not seeing anything on the squawk yet. What was that? Holy. That was weird. This is kind of like yesterday, isn't it? Where the E-mini is making new lows and they slam it down in the treasuries by 2 ticks. Exactly like yesterday. That was, yeah, let's type this. Okay, do you have reading materials to suggest on what drives treasury prices longer term? I wish. No, where I'm not. What's his name? What's their name? Anthopleura. There you are. Yeah, on its way to 77. Yeah, well, I just wanted to see them break 2685. Now that they've broken 2685, we're into the unknown territory for me. But I do not like what happened there in the treasuries. I do not think I want to be involved anymore unless it somehow gives me like really, really good risk. So you gotta be careful on these sorts of things because you have like weekly expirations and people don't want to have positions going into the weekend. And so if you've got a trade that's been on for several days and then on Friday it falls apart, right? Then it really falls apart. And so what you'll often see is Fridays will tend to be either really range bound or super tricky. But if they're not, if an actual real strong trend develops, it can be an incredibly strong trend. I've seen this a few times. Yeah, Amphipleura, that would be useful. But having after two block sells at 14 and 14 half, and it being 830, and me making 6 ticks, I'm mad because I could have made woulda, coulda, shoulda. Could have made 16 ticks if I had not been tricked. But sometimes I'm going to be tricked, unfortunately. I wish I could do better on that. I wonder. Let's look back, okay? So the problem was that I had bought it at 11. Yes. So I had bought it somewhere here. Oh man, I was in that for a long time. It came back to here and I sold it. So I had a good position. So it wasn't my position. It was that when this happened and we were in that spot, I probably should have just taken it off. Then when it went to 20 and it turned around, I could have been a little bit more aggressive at taking 12 half up to here. But the spot that I read, when I took it at 14, I was like, maybe I should hold it, but I kind of am seeing something here. I'm not even quite sure I recognize, I could explain what it was about that price. But it was just like it had ticked back down. And because I took it here before this one. Well, that was really weird. Maybe it was just a coincidence. What about before that? Could have taken this down here when it was at 08 half. See that? That should not happen, guys. What the fuck is that? What the heck? See, if I hadn't have gotten that out, I would be almost looking at break even at the moment. That's weird. Mnuchin and Lighthizer headed to China for trade talks. The schedule isn't yet clear, but the U.S. delegation will begin arriving on the weekend, according to Chinese press reports. Heavy state of data coming up next week in the U.S. Okay, so that might be it. That might be it. See, they're back above that price from before. That's super bearish. Super bullish. Super bullish to me. And you guys feeling? Let's check out here. So many comments today. Yes, over here. Kind of peak at 8 o'clock. Lots of viewers this week. We're growing. I think that some people are tuning in because we don't have the live squawk to listen to anymore, and hearing the tweets is nice. Although sometimes you don't get that. I'm wondering if we would have been able to hear that on the squawk or not. But it was Chinese media that was reporting it, so that's curious. Oh, I guess we have a lot of people on Twitch today too, so thank you for watching for you guys on Twitch. I always wonder because I know that Twitch tends to be a younger audience and most of the traders just watch on YouTube. So if you're new and you're interested in how this works or what we're doing, please ask questions. Because I tell you what, I wish that I had started doing this when I was like 19, 21. Could have been so much more ahead if I had done this 10 years ago. You know what I mean? I got involved in markets, but not scalping. Oh, I thought they were coming in here they do come in here for you. That's why they go into YouTube instead of Twitch. No. Here's the thing, Ace, is that they don't know you're here yet, right? So if you're a new person and you're coming in and you're watching on Twitch, because you just happened to stumble across it somehow, right? And you're just some kid. You don't know that Ace exists yet. So you watch on Twitch, and that's why there's 4 of them there. And then they go, oh, Ace, actually, he posts on the YouTube one. And I can see the restream bot forwarding the comments over, so I should go over there. And then they go over there. That's what happens. And by the way, hi Lucas. You're late. What happened? Late today. You missed all the I don't think you missed all the fun. Okay, so you see that 68 at 13 now? So there's some big sellers here. There's some big disagreement. Seth Squawk, right? Unfortunately, I cannot even hope to provide as great of a service as Live Squawk does. He's very good. Granted, they post a lot of things that I really don't give a fuck about, but I probably say lots of things that you guys don't give a fuck about. Scalpers heaven today. I think, the early trade I really didn't like. And that I'm glad that I stayed out of that whole move down and move back up. But then once they broke the highs, once they got above the open, really, has been good trading. There's been some good swings, and I was getting pretty good fills there too for take one tick and that sort of a thing. So yeah. This is not over yet, probably. Where'd you guys go? The birds have the most insight, to be honest. Well, I'm thinking. So I haven't decided what it's going to be with yet. I don't want to do it with the presidential election, but maybe at some point we do some stock picking or something, and the birds can do the stock picking. You know what I mean? We can put a peanut in two cups or something, and then put a stock name on each of it, and have him pick which one he wants. Probably Jerry. Kaze doesn't understand this stuff. He's way too young. That's pretty funny, dude. I was laughing. So again, the video that I made that is how to get started in futures. The longer that goes on, the more the more amusing to me it is. And one of the things is watching the birds climb around me, and at certain points in the video, it is super distracting. And I'm like, oh man, that was really dumb that I did that. And it probably did hurt the popularity of the video, but I personally find it amusing, so I guess it's okay. Yes, like the octopus that picked the World Cup winners, exactly like that. So I worked for Goldman Sachs, and they had a lobby, and they were, asking, what would you like to have in the lobby? So in Salt Lake, in their new building, although I don't think that Goldman put it there, I think that this was from the company that manages the building, because it's not just Goldman in there. They only own like 2 or 3 floors. But down in the lobby, they have this huge television that's always showing like pictures of the globe and stuff like that, to make all of the workers feel like they're in a deep global metropolitan area, even though they're just, in Salt Lake City. And my opinion was that they should get an octopus, give it a big tank and everything. They should name it Sydney, after Sidney Weinberger, the guy that founded Goldman Sachs, and it could be his reincarnation. And then the octopus could do stock picks, right? I think that would be a huge boost to their global information research division. And it would be funny because at the time everybody was calling Goldman Sachs vampire squid. I think was the Rolling Stone article, I think it was, that they were vampire squid. Yeah, I think an octopus would have been great. They should still do it. So if you're listening to me out there, Goldman Sachs guys, I'm, one of you, whoever it is that keeps fucking up all of my trades. If you're listening, you guys should get an octopus. Did I tell you that, by the way, yesterday? It wasn't yesterday. It was like 2 days ago. Lloyd Blankfein, the former CEO of Goldman Sachs, he was defending markets, because Democrats were on this thing of, hey, we should ban stock buybacks. Apparently, it was not always a thing, but in the 80s, it became a thing, and now they're saying that they should get rid of it again. And Lloyd Blankfein said, it's not like that money just disappears, right? And so the comeback, I think it was from AOC, I could be wrong, but the comeback was, well, yeah, it goes into your guys' pockets. You should stop giving it to yourselves and pay your employees more. Well, so when I worked for Goldman Sachs, the reason that I applied for them, here's the thing, I did not know that they had a division in Salt Lake City. But what happened to me was the financial crisis happened. I started watching CNBC every day. I got really interested in markets. And at some point, I decided that video game development was like a really crappy industry to go into and that I wanted to trade. So this was 2008, 2009. And, I would watch CNBC and I was like, well, if I was going to trade, how would I do this? Because I'm not, I'm in technology, I do technology, but maybe I should just apply at a place to see if I could get a trader position or what would happen. And on the television that day, there was a story about how Goldman Sachs pays its employees too much. That was the story. That was the story. And I was like, well, I want to go and work at the place where they pay people too much. Like, are you fucking kidding me, guys? You gonna complain that somebody go and get in on that, right? And everybody was saying it's immoral and it's bad that they're taking all of the talent away from more useful and productive uses of the economy. Was it what they were saying? Like they were complaining that too many bright people were going into finance because the finance companies were paying money. I was like, well, fuck that. I'm going to go work for them. So I applied on the website. I didn't know that they had stuff in Salt Lake, but the recruiters in Salt Lake saw what I had put in there and like, well, we have to interview for him. So I went in and forgot about it. And then when they came to the university and did interviews a month later, they sent me an email and asked me to come in, and that's how I ended up getting hired with them. So I tweeted that back to Lloyd in that comment thread, and that was what my experience was, and a bunch of people liked it. But when he made that comment, that was like the funniest thing I had seen all week. I'm sure the Goldman Sachs guys are in here every day. I can check with my FBI guy who wanted. So if you the FBI is in here. I hope that they are. I've never seen anything in our chat room that I thought was illegal, but there are people that come in and will say that they're doing things that would be illegal, but I don't believe them, right? Like, remember that crypto guy that came in and he would be like, I'm going to buy 10,000 contracts now. And we're like, yeah, fuck you, you're not. Remember that guy? So I would think that maybe it would be useful for the FBI, but I'm totally willing to be an FBI informant for you guys if you need to. I mean, I'm always down with helping the SEC crack down on somebody cheating. That pisses me off, especially that spoofing stuff. Yeah. When you trade the 10-year and 30-year bonds, do you ever get fill? Because I'm sitting on it and it goes all over my... Oh, do you ever get filled? I think is what he meant to say. Yeah, so, Jan, that is the whole thing. I have to see specific behaviors in the price that tell me, one, I can get filled there, but two, even though I can get filled there, there's a good chance that price is going to hold. You get what I'm saying? So, for instance, here at 12 and 12 halves. Well, it's easier to see on a chart. Can you see this little zipper thing right here? Where it's going back and forth and it looks like a zipper? They're within a 3-tick range. What that really means is that 12 half is offering about 1,500. They're going to buy it up and then they're going to bid about 1,500. And then it doesn't go any more than that. So then they're going to sell it down and they're going to offer about 1,500. And they're going to go back and forth across that. You might see a couple trade into 13 or into 12. Okay? You might see a few trade into there, but like this last time, $3.99, right? And if you're at the back of the line, like you're 3,000 or 4,000, you're not going to get filled, right? So what do we know right now? If you are desperate to get filled, your best chance is at 12 half, right? So that's the first thing. And then those prices tend to be consistent. So notice here on this this chart, this 12 half, it was significant way back here as well, right? And you can actually even see, well, you can't really see it on the volume profile. Very often these will be the same spots on the volume profile, but do you see how I put an eye there when it was on the way up? Because I knew that that was the price where you could get filled, right? But like I said, that's only half of it, because then the next thing that you got to, the next three things that you got to know. There's three more things that you got to know. Then the next thing is if I do get filled at 13, is there something about that price that's going to hold it, right? So right here, you could have gotten filled at 13, but they went right through you and they bid 2,000. So that's not good. If you got filled there, that wouldn't necessarily be good. It's good that 13 half is sticking, but preferably you would like to get filled and it not go through you, right? So that's the next thing, right? The third thing is then it has to be within your acceptable risk. So like right here at 13 half wouldn't, like if I wanted to go short and I said maybe I can get filled at 13 half or 13 maybe even, I could just mark it into it because it is above that balanced area at 12 half, right? But it's not acceptable risk. It's more than 4 ticks risk. That's too much. So I wouldn't take it, right? And then the fourth thing is that it needs to be in line with trend. So at the moment, it looks like trend is actually up. So I would have to buy. So if I was going to take a trade, I would either have to be buying 12 half or 12, right? Never buy above the balance area, because if you buy above not never, but if I buy above the balance area, I need to be seeing pressure in the DOM that says this is going to break right now, and you can get in it, and if it doesn't immediately go, you get out, right? But what happens is, if let's say you bought and then you buy at 13 and then they tick back into the balanced zone, then you're stuck right there at -1 over and over again. So if you buy something and then the price, you lose a tick and the price that you see becomes balanced, that's not a good sign. Oh, you got out 3 ticks. Cool. Oh, so you actually did buy at 12 half? Okay. Right. And that's why I think my method of trading, the way that I look at order flow, granted, so like some other guys like Swizzo, when he comes in here, he's a little bit better at seeing who really is in charge. Like when it's ticking back and forth there, he seems to have a knack of knowing actually buyers do have control here now, and it is eventually going to move up, right? I can't see that. I can just see here are the prices and here is the best place to get in. And then I kind of have to use everything else I know about what the trend is and the forces moving the market to pick a direction and take my spot from that direction. And that's why what happens with the edge there is your probability actually ends up being around 50% still. Like when you look at my trades, I'm right less than 50% of the time. But because I'm getting the right spot, my winners are able to be more than my losers by a tick or two, generally speaking. Makes sense? And then, like today, I did lose 2 ticks on that first trade, right? But then I took only -2. And then, the other ones, I took 2 contracts on them, but I was able to get, a little bit more. And I was able to be more confident in those trades because I knew that I was getting the right spots. And both of those could have been worth more, but alas. Well, this one I got 5 ticks out of it, but I only did 1 contract. And this one I did 2 contracts and I could have gotten +6, but I didn't take it off right. But then when it came back to +2, I took it off because it shouldn't come back that far. Unfortunately, I got out at exactly the wrong spot, but sometimes it happens. That's how I do it. And I'm not saying that it's like the way to trade and or that it's going to be consistently profitable or anything. Just trying to explain what's going on in my head, and you can kind of look at that and maybe take parts of it and put it into your own strategy, or maybe completely ignore it because you think I'm crazy. Oh yeah, Ace was saying this isn't the first time a zipper has gotten set. I don't know if that was a joke beyond just that I've taken bad trades in those spots. Some of my best trades have been off of those zippers. They didn't give us one today, but every once in a while you get one that goes 11 ticks, and sometimes they reverse like big time. Yes, don't you look for more correlations which improves the accuracy? Yeah, that's kind of more of the trend part, right? Like I could just see when we were talking there, okay, it was 12 half and we had ticked up 1. So that to me right there is the trend is up. So now, what am I seeing in the E-mini at that same time? E-mini is moving down. Correlations match the way that they should. I can see that there was a clear pivot in the E-mini. Therefore, it is safe for me to take a trade at 12 half. I didn't take one there because it's past my time frame, and I don't like what happened there at 14 and 14 half. I think you were making a good choice there too, and there was some crazy selling there, and so we may yet get to 16. I mean, I really feel like with a 10,000 contracts sitting there that they would eventually move up to it. But when there was an impulse like that at 14 and 14 half, that dramatically reduces the chances of us getting past that spot. So it could be that we have an 80% chance of trading 16. But because this happened, maybe we only have a 60% chance of trading 16 now. I don't actually know. But I do know that then becomes a spot where if you were able to take it, you'd have to think about taking it off at 14. Right? Or if I see the pivot happening here in the E-mini, maybe you want to get out. Or that's also when you'll see me start taking once, because what I'm seeing there is that this is a balanced area where I can get filled on both sides. Like if it's 3,000 by 3,000, I generally can get filled on both sides, or I can see that they're not bidding and offering very much here and they're not bidding and offering very much here. I could get filled on both sides. And I can see that the E-mini is just chopping around. Then I'll try building a position. Why is my phone? It's like buzzing all over the place. Okay. Cool. All right. Well, good chat. Thank you guys all for watching. I think at the top, the peak, well, let's see. The peak we were watching, we had 30. So like last week, we were getting like 24, and I was like really impressed. And now we're getting to 30, 32. So we're growing. We're really starting to grow. So thank you guys. I think that video we posted really helped. So if you haven't watched the video, which futures product should I trade? Even if you're really sure you know what futures product you're going to trade, go and watch it because it's a funny video. And I think a lot of you traders will really enjoy it, unless you're like a CL trader and you get butthurt easily by me calling oil crazy. But yeah, check that video out. And I'm planning on making 2 videos this weekend, so you see those on Monday. And always checking out the Discord. So if you have other questions, put them in Discord, and I will respond to those when I see them. Or you can just message me privately on there. And I'm also going to be playing Apex this weekend. So if you guys want to do that, I put in the off-topic channel my origin IDs, so you can grab that. Yep. Okie dokie. Well, I will catch you guys on Monday otherwise. And in the meantime, stay profitable, friends.